if he did have somebody running beyond, my question will be, and it probably goes back to Jamie's point of the midfield three of Milner, Keita and Henderson, who is going to get their head up? Apart from Trent in that whole 11, who's going to get their head up and play that through ball?
It's true, but you could also go back and say, well, they've won Champions Leagues and they've won Premier Leagues with that midfield as well. So they've never really had anybody that, and it's been I think Liverpool fans...
They would have Bobby sitting in...
Yeah, Firmino would come and drop and play that ball,
yeah.
and that's what you're going to hope like Gakpo can be that player. But it is a problem, and it will... But right now, you do focus on these little details that have been going wrong, and you look at the age of the midfield, and it isn't always ideal, and that's why you're trying to bring in players to freshen up. I think Liverpool's season is going to almost ride on these next two games. I think they've got fixtures with Wolves and Manchester United. When you identify games as a Liverpool player, they're the ones that can determine the season, especially when you're in a situation like you are, where you're a little bit fragile. Everything can turn in its head if they win on March the 5th and win, obviously in midweek against Wolves. They're the games that can define seasons. All of a sudden, top four goes into, becomes a realistic ambition, which I still think
those
they
two,
can
they're in
do.
a happy place, aren't they?
Exactly, but they've got to win these next two games. They're home games. They've got to find that belief and confidence at home, because a little bit would have been knocked away with that midweek performance, and the fans have got to stay with them, which they always do there. But they're games that I really do believe that will make all the difference, because they've got to build that confidence up. The end of the season and the players you want to bring in and identify will take care of themselves. Right now, this squad is still capable. You can't get to a situation where you played every single game last year, get to the cup finals that you got to, and be involved in every competition, and all of a sudden become a bad side. They're damaged, the confidence is low, but I still think they're capable of getting that top four with that squad.
But surely this form now and this season impacts who you can bring in the summer?
I've heard that said a lot. I'm probably, because I'm proud of the Liverpool heritage and everything, that they will still get the best, even if they don't get top four. I've seen it with clubs before where they couldn't get, they didn't get in the Champions League, they can't get this player. They still do. Manchester United have never really had that problem buying the big players when they weren't competing.
But Manchester United have had to spend. Will Liverpool spend?
I think they will. I think the owners will. I think they know what they need to do. I genuinely believe that. And if Jurgen Klopp, he didn't believe it, he wouldn't stay there either. And I think there will be, whether it's these owners or investments, they get a lot of stick, the owners, but they've backed the manager as well. And he knows that. He's never once come out and complained about the players that he's bought. What you might say is, maybe, have they bought players that they really need? Now, did they really need Cody Gakpo right now?
I'm not saying that they haven't spent. They're just not massive spenders, let's say. They're not in a Manchester United's league, or
because not different state-owned clubs. Yeah. It's hard, it's going to be hard to compete with Newcastle once they get through their financial situation. But when you're a club, the players will always want to come there. They'll still be able to get the best. There's still talk, and I believe that the players that might come in, Jude Bellingham, he will look at Liverpool and he'll look at Klopp as a viable option because of what it will bring and how much he can improve. It's not going to be easy signing, because every club wants him, but that's the sort of player that you've got to be looking for. If you want to improve and start challenging again, and as low as it's been for Liverpool at times, you're never that far away. You're only one or two players away. You look at what Manchester United have done all of a sudden with Ten Hag. He's brought in a couple of players that all of a sudden there's a bit of belief again, and now they're flying high. And I still believe with Liverpool, a couple of players, Fabinho looks like he's just, for some reason, he's 29 still. He looks like he's gone over the edge. Maybe they need to find a young defensive midfield player, find someone to fill that void. But I still feel Liverpool will. I think they're still getting the top four, and I also believe that next year they'll be challenging again.
And perhaps Arsenal, the best example of that, Glenn. 5th last season, and a couple of signings, Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus, and suddenly they're flying high at the top of the league.
Yeah, I think it's clubs in completely different situations. Arsenal has been a project, and that project's working out really well for them. Liverpool have been a top team. They've won European Cups, they've won the Premier League. They're trying to transition at the top, which I think everyone can see it's a very difficult thing.